Well, well, well. We're back here again. It's currently 11 o'clock at night for me, and this is the second night in a row that I'm actually recording a podcast episode so late. Last night I was here answering some of the questions for a Q&A about college, New York City, faith, basically my reflections on college, my personally, how did I get through it kind of thing. And today I'm back because I actually graduated this morning. So I have updates for you guys. I literally walked in the door. I've been out. My family's here. Basically, we went to breakfast at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Went to graduate. Went to, I don't know, we did all kinds of stuff today. You know, it's New York City, so like sightseeing and all of that. So I didn't get home until literally 10 minutes ago. Walked in the door, took my shoes off, sat down on this couch because I have to debrief you guys. Consider this episode a reprise, an addition, an epilogue to Abby's letter to high school seniors. We're just gonna get into it. But first I gotta tell you about our sponsors because, I can't not rave about them. You know them. You love them. I don't know why you haven't switched to them yet. It's Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. So if you're tired of giving your money away to companies that don't support your values, then you should check who you're paying for your service. Because if it's not Patriot Mobile, they're probably not supporting your values. So check it out. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all three major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've always been accustomed to. And when you switch to Patriot Mobile, you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our veterans, military, and first responder heroes. Their customer service team is 100% US based. That makes switching super, super easy. You can literally keep your phone, your number, your upgrade, all of it. And their team will help you figure out the best plan for your needs. All you got to do, it's so easy, guys. It's so easy. All you got to do is go to patriotmobile.com/counteract or call 972-PATRIOT. When you use the code Counteract USA, you'll get free activation. Join us. Make the switch today. That is patriotmobile.com/counteract or call 972-PATRIOT. Let's go. Okay, I'm pulling up an email I received from my commencement team, if you will, regarding my graduation because it's going to be some important information. But first of all, today I graduated. I graduated college. Truly never thought I'd see this day. Like, not once in my life was I like, I'm doing it for the degree, can't wait till I get that degree. No. I like the concept of walking. I also say this because I was the class of 2020, so I didn't get a high school graduation. So the idea of walking and graduating is very new to me. So it just wasn't on my radar for like all of college. So today was a super crazy, surreal experience. We get these like emails about commencement leading up to it, just giving us all of our important information, the time, the place, how to get tickets, what to wear. Then this email comes in. So the encampments are happening at Columbia and NYU and Fordham, and tensions are high in campuses. My school is about 1,500 to 2,000 kids max. Well, we have this festival every spring called Strawberry Fest, and it's super fun and just a good way to like kind of kick off the finals week and the end of the semester. Well, a bunch of kids decide to go out and set up a pro-Palestinian, or like it said Marymount Students for Free Palestine. And they sit on the benches outside, and honestly, it was a little disruptive, but like, first, free speech. Not much we could do about it. They weren't yelling, they weren't saying anything, they were sitting quietly. But then it, escalated. More kids joined in and got rowdy, started chanting, and then it's a Jewish neighborhood. We live in a Jewish neighborhood, and you can hear things in the streets. Like, there's some club nearby. I hear their music all the time through my windows. They're like blocks away from me. But anyways, Jewish people found out, and they showed up and they were like, bring them home. Like, basically it turned into a face-off, and it made me very sad at first. I saw the early stages of it when the students were just getting rowdy and a few like pro-Israel people had showed up, and I felt very sad for them because it was like one adult person against all these like ruthless college students. But apparently after I left, it got really intense to the point where I guess the cops were called and they had to shut down the whole street, disband the protest. The doors to the school were closed for like 2 hours. And afterwards, they released a statement basically saying, because the students have been demanding my school to address this issue since October 7th. And they haven't, because we have our students are from everywhere. We have a lot of not only Jewish students, but Jewish faculty. And we do have some people from Palestine or from like Arab states. So our school didn't release anything. And I think that was very wise of them to do for the safety of their entire student population. And so when this happened, they finally had to release a statement. So what they basically said was, we do not condone violence. We do not condone harassment. We support everyone's right to free speech. And we support your right to have your own beliefs. However, and this is where it gets tricky, they said, however, we do not condone misinformation or hate speech surrounding the school. Marymount does not stand by this. It's not in our code of ethics, I think they said, or, it's not in our core values, which their core values are not related to anything political. But anywho, basically, yeah, they gave us this little speech that was like, we believe everyone can believe what they want to believe, but if we disagree with you, it's hate speech and it's misinformation, and we don't condone that. That's basically what they said. Believe what you want unless we disagree with you. So they released this statement, and I was like, cool. Like, y'all just danced around what you're really saying, your real stance on the matter, right? Then we get our emails about commencement, and we get this email that says, important information. We understand that commencement this year is occurring at a charged time in our society, with many individuals expressing strongly held viewpoints and opinions. We appreciate people's beliefs and their ability to convey those beliefs passionately within the proper environment. Commencement is an event to celebrate the success of our graduating students. Families and friends have, in many cases, traveled long distances and made sacrifices with busy schedules to celebrate their students and be with their family. Furthermore, we are guests at the United Palace, and it is essential for the United Palace team that we abide by their rules to ensure everyone's safety. This day is about MMC graduates and families. Thank you for respecting the class of 2024 during this celebratory day. Then they go on to say, it's in the second email. Bro, they send me a bajillion emails a day. For what? I don't know. But it's fine because it's over because I graduated. Here's what they say. You got to go through security, blah, blah, blah. I saw them throw out so many vapes today, which was hilarious. But anyways, here we go. Items prohibited include, but are not limited to, balloons, beach balls, flags, posters, confetti, and any visible political / public messaging. This is important. They specifically asked us, and I think then after that they go on to say, yeah, same thing. Just be respectful. Thank you for respecting, or like they want us to respect the class of 2024 and respect families and students at commencement. They specifically ask us not to wear any political or public messaging. So tell me why. Okay, first of all, I get there and like 90%, maybe 80% of the graduating class is wearing these red poppies pinned to their gown, which when I got there, I was like, I didn't really know exactly what it was for, but I was like, okay, it's probably something political. When I started seeing other people do it, I was like, oh yeah, it's political. And that, that's not visible. So I'm not really one to knock it. I think it's like as far as like symbolism goes. Like it works, it's good. But they all wore these red poppies on their gown to stand in support of Palestine. Well, all is well, all is good. We start walking and people pull out there were like, I think 5 different students that pull out their Palestinian flags as they walk. So that means they snuck them in. Not that, a flag shouldn't be political, right? Because it's a nationality, but they were making a political statement as they walked. You just know exactly. I remember like someone in my family was like, well, they didn't explicitly say. No. You know exactly what they're saying. Like it's so polarized at this point, at least in New York City, at least in my college, it's so polarized at this point. You know exactly what they're saying when they pull out the Palestinian flag. These students were not Palestinian, might I add. We also had people wearing, oh my gosh, I want to make sure I pronounce it right. It's kufiyas, right? The prayer shawl that acts as a symbol of Palestinian nationality. Many students were wearing those, which they also were not Palestinian. Some of them were like white. So yeah, just right away, it's pretty charged. And you know what? In hindsight, I think it's because they sent the email out. The students were like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna do it. So everyone shows up, and yeah, so like right away, it's just students are doing what the school asked them not to do. Like, it's Marymount, it's a liberal arts school, it's a performing arts school. What do you expect? Like, students are gonna take the spotlight, they're gonna get rowdy and get riled up. Like, the whole point of the arts, in a sense, is to, like, break systems, right? Break expectations, break the rules. So, that's happening. And, mind you, no one gets onto them. No one, like, I know there's only so much they can do, but if they were going to stand by what they said, which is that political messaging is prohibited, they should, like, pull that student off stage or something. Like, stand by what you said, But they don't. And so it's okay, whatever. Maybe they can't, whatever. Then we award a PhD, an honorary degree to I guess a professor at our school. I didn't know her personally, who received her PhD. And she wrote a poem. I mean, it's a beautiful poem. Don't get me wrong. It's a very powerful poem. Like, I get it. Like, today I was evaluating, like, the like crowd dynamics and like art. I don't know. I understand, like, when things get super emotionally charged, like, I get it's so easy to get behind something. I felt this way with her poem. I felt this way with like everyone standing, we're all in this big crowd, like celebrating graduating. Like, this whole auditorium is like cheering for us. And it's like, I get it. I get why people are so quick to get behind things when they're so emotionally charged. And her poem was beautiful, and it was well made, and it was very emotionally charged. But she threw in, I wish I could remember it. I'll find the clip. She threw in some pro-Palestine stuff, and students were like, yeah! Like, they went crazy. They started cheering. And then I hear these people in the back, like these families who start yelling, bring them home. And even there were graduating students that started yelling, bring them home. Like, and then the students all around us, there was a girl right behind me, like 2 rows behind me, who yelled, bring them home, bring them home. And everyone went off on her. Shut up. Literally, shut up. It's not about you today. I kid you not, that's how they said it. I am like mimicking their voice, like almost to the T. It's literally not about you today. Can you just shut up and like let it be? Can you just let us have some peace? Like, these kids are ruthless. Like, I am heated right now. I shouldn't be. Lord, give me the grace to love, the eyes to see. But like, that makes me like ball my fit. Like, I just want to hit something, right? That is ruthless. For what? You're out here, literally, shut up. You're telling someone whose homeland, I mean, Yeah, it just gets me heated because, right, like the whole Hamas charter is for the eradication of Jews around the world. From the river to the sea is the eradication of the state of Israel. They don't even know. These students don't even know what they're talking about. And so now there's this person back here who, for whatever reason, has a deep connection with Israel and takes offense to what you're saying. And you're going to tell them to shut up at their own commencement ceremony? Like, and you're going to say, it's not about you today. Girl, guy, they, them, whatever you are. It's not about you. It's not about you. But that's the issue with college, is that it tells us from day one, it's all about you. You are your own God. This is your journey to take. You're on self-discovery mode. Do what makes you happy. Your happiness, I mean, they even said this in one of the speeches. Your happiness matters most. As long as you live a life that makes you happy, then you're fine. You're a good person. It's all about you. So that happened. And that happened twice. The first time the PhD speaker, the second time our class speaker threw some things in. But I will say she was very graceful. She's actually Christian. I love her a lot. She was very graceful in that she mentioned many, many countries who face oppression around the world. So she was a little more like graceful with it, but still threw in some things, some things about like the suffering of Palestinian people. And don't get me wrong, I know people are suffering over there. I know that there's like a deep national unrest for Palestine. I understand that, and like that's not what I'm trying to say. If Marymount in all of these years that I was there had not made their stance clear about me or people who think like me, they definitely did today at graduation. And not only that, but all the families there got to see what they had put their hard-earned money into, or what they had helped their students put their hard-earned money into. They got to see it like up close on full display. This is what we believe. This is who we support. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was actually like very happy that my family was there, because I got to walk out afterwards and be like, so now you see why I get frustrated sometimes with school, right? You get to see the baloney that I've put up with for 4 years. That's basically what happened today. It got pretty political, and like it just broke my heart. I felt so sad, and I wanted to go find those students so badly. I wanted to go find them and just be like, thank you for saying something. Like, I refused to applaud certain things, but I didn't have the guts to yell, bring them home. I don't even know if I felt like I had the agency or like the authority to do that, but I wanted to find them and just be like, thank you. But I think a lot of those people left as soon as they could. Like, as soon as the closing statements were made, they dipped. And I don't blame them, because you're sitting in an auditorium full of people. You're watching 300 students sit in front of you and say that they're against you. Like, I cannot imagine how that feels. I mean, I guess I can a little bit, but with this issue, it's just so much more tense, right? And like so much more tender to sit there and watch all these students basically like say that you deserve to be eradicated, and to feel like your entire college is against you. And what is it all for? Like, you just graduate. I mean, I don't know. If I graduated feeling some regrets about college, I can't imagine how they felt. I tell you this story because I think it's an important example or lesson maybe of what we should be preparing ourselves when we enter into college, or what we should be preparing our kids for when we enter into college. Abby mentioned in her letter, or her episode recently, like how to maintain your faith through college. She mentioned that the indoctrination is tangible in every single class. And that is so true. Like, it may not be fully outright all the time. I've had some teachers who have provoked very nuanced discussion, which I'm so thankful for, because like nuance is just so important when you're in an echo chamber like that. But even then, the curriculum, it always points you back towards, who do you support? Are you your own God? Are you going to get in the way of someone else? Like just being themselves? Yeah, the indoctrination is so tangible. And if you don't see it in your classes now, if you don't see it in examples that you see from like students that come out of school, which I don't know how you're not seeing that, but let my commencement ceremony be an example of that. And I know mine wasn't even the worst. Columbia, I think they canceled their graduation. Hundreds and hundreds of students who don't get to walk because of the selfishness of a few. And they'll say they're upright, they're outstanding, they're good and righteous people for setting up their encampments and shutting down graduation and shutting down classes, and they would rip up their diploma when they get it. But it's selfish because they don't even know what they're talking about. And as I mentioned in my episode about like Columbia and stuff, a lot of these people say some really radical statements. The girl leading the protests at our school, or one of the leaders, I guess, one of the organizers, she won't even talk to straight white men. Literally will not acknowledge their existence if they're in a group setting. That's insane to me. Like, that's so chronically online. But it's also so chronically college institution. Can that be a new thing? Chronically college? Like chronically online, but it's like you've been festering in this breeding ground for freaking indoctrination. If there's anything I can say to you guys, what I wish could have been told to me, or maybe that I just wish I had known, and I understand, I'm grateful for this because God is giving me the wisdom now. I don't think I could have handled it back then, and I was a new believer and all of that, but when you're going into college, just be ready. Be ready to give an answer for the hope that you have. Be ready to give a loving yet truthful answer for the intense cultural issues that are facing us, because they are facing us. When you get into that classroom, it's not about history all of a sudden. It's not about math equations. Even my math teacher had something to say about our social climate and our political climate of today. When you get into a college classroom, they are forming you for the world, to go out into the world, into institutions. People complain about public education. They complain about K through 12, but college is the real threat, I think, to free thought, to critical thinking. They're going to sit there and tell you what to believe. They're going to, everything is a social, political, or religious commentary in college. It's inescapable at this point. I don't know why. I don't know the history. Maybe that's another episode. But so Christian, when you're going into college, be ready to give an answer in a loving and truthful manner for the cultural issues that you face and for the hope that you have. Not only that, though, don't let yourself get beat down. I know that sounds super cheesy and don't give up. Whatever. No. Don't. You have the authority of Christ resting on your shoulders. You have the authority to speak the truth to these people. You have, when I say authority, I've also just understood this in a new way this season. It's you have the authority to spread the gospel. Not even the authority, the responsibility, the calling to spread the gospel. You're not going to college to get your degree. You're going to college to be a move of God on your college campus, to be a part of the spreading of the gospel. That's your ultimate mission. That's your ultimate hope, is eternity in heaven with Christ. It's not the degree and then the job and then the money and the family. No, it's eternity with Jesus, who you love. What I really just want you to know going into college and into this new season is that it's not going to be what you want it to be. It's not going to meet all of your hopes and dreams. It's probably not going to be worth it. Like, it's such a scam. You're going to hit walls in college that you probably have not faced before. And that's okay. Because God's hand right now is all over college campuses. Like, he is clinging to our college institutions in this country right now. And really, like, we as Christians, we don't have to be afraid of that. We don't have to be afraid to go into into our colleges and into the classroom and into the tense place where our worldview is challenged. We don't have to be afraid of that because, like, God's inviting us into it. I think about Esther 4:14. I feel like this is a Counteract coffee mug verse. The first one, the original one, it's such a staple to the organization. It's surely salvation for the Jews will arise from another place, but who knows? You may have been called to the kingdom for a time such as this. Meaning, God's moving already in college campuses. He's going to continue to do that. I just feel this promise so strongly, so surely, so confidently in my heart that, like, the next big move of the gospel just very well might be in colleges with college-age students. And I believe that he'll be faithful to do that. He's going to keep doing that. Like, we can't stop the Lord from, like, fulfilling his glory on the earth. We can't mess that up. But what if God is calling you into that right now, to be a part of that? Like, to be a vessel, a sanctuary for him. My pastor said this really well recently, that our body, our flesh exists to make the invisible God visible. Because if we're made in his image, then everything we do with our bodies is in some way a reflection of him. And so are we stewarding our lives well? Are we stewarding the vessel well? Not only to reflect who he is and live out our faith, but to carry the Holy Spirit, to carry the presence of God, the gospel within us, in our hearts, in our souls. Like, are we walking around and living our lives as if our soul has been saved? That's what we're doing when we enter the classroom and the college campus. We are carrying God with us. Every second that you're standing there in a place that doesn't love you, that doesn't want you to be there, a place where you feel out of place, unwelcome, every place that you stand where God is not, you are bridging the gap. I think about the Great Commission like this. Like, if the heavens and the earth were one with another and then they were separated from each other when sin happened, then when Jesus came back to earth, he overlapped the two, essentially. Like a Venn diagram, he was that little middle part of the Venn diagram holding the two together because of his sacrifice on the cross. And so when we fulfill the Great Commission, basically it's Jesus inviting us to do the same, to stand in that little gap that he occupied while he was here on earth and gave us the Holy Spirit to continue to do. So, like, that's it. When you go to that college campus, you are an advocate for the Lord, a representative of Christ, and an ambassador for the kingdom. And that's ultimately, I mean, all that he's asking you to do. I just said this, I think, before the audio cut off, but it's not about the degree. It's not about the popularity, the money that you make from it, the family, like the career. It's about being a part of the next great move of the gospel on your campus. It's about interceding, standing in for a people that are searching and lost. They're gonna see you. These students are gonna see you, and they are gonna ask, what does this person have that I don't? Because I'm searching here. I'm desperate. I don't understand. I'm trying to understand who I am, what I'm here for. How does this person already have it figured out? They're going to ask that. And I feel like everyone says that. Like, people throw that around a lot, right? But like, it's so true in college. The amount of times I have been asked about my faith simply because of the way I live, the way I dress, the way they physically see me. I don't even have to speak up about it, but the way that they physically see me live my life. They ask questions. They want to know. And there's so many people, like, you don't even know the lives that you will change while you're in college. There's so many people who are looking to you and who will continue to look to you. The amount of messages I've gotten in the past week on Instagram from people who I didn't even know were Christian, who I didn't even know believed the same things I believed. The amount of testimonies I've heard, people who've opened up to me, people who've told me they're like questioning things that are happening politically right now in the past week, simply because I graduated school. Like, what a testimony. I didn't care about graduation. I was ready to drop out. But if me being here walking across that stage is enough to give glory to God, that he's going to use it for his glory, like, I mean, that is like more of an honor than I will ever deserve. And so I say that to say that, like, it's not going to happen immediately, but by being obedient and being faithful and just loving the Lord and like carrying him with you, you will impact lives on your campus in more ways than you know, more people than you know. You may never even get to see the fruit of it, but like, it's there, it's happening. And not only that, but people who aren't in school, family members, friends, we at Counteract are looking to you to see like what you're going to do to steward this, to bring the gospel to campus, to make known the love of the Lord for a generation that is searching and lost and desperate for an answer, desperate for the truth. And that's what God is inviting you into. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be concerned. You don't have, like, you're given the authority and the responsibility of living out your salvation and making Jesus known on your college campus. And that's what it's about. It's not going to be what you want it to be. It's not going to be easy. But don't be afraid. Like, hope is not lost. It's not. You're good. And we're rallying behind you. I mean, we here at Counteract, we are praying so viciously for you right now, for the next generation to come in and do what we have just gotten to see, like, the first little seedlings of, right? Like, Abby and I and Allie, and I mean, just like probably like the whole Counteract team back home who's graduated now, we are just getting to see the glimpses of what the future holds and what God is like already doing in the lives of students, but what he's like continuing to do and what he's planning to do. And we get to see just a glimpse of it, and we're handing the baton to you. And we're waiting to see what happens eagerly, and we're so behind you. But I think I've said all I really need to say. Just that, like, don't be afraid. Have faith. Walk in the authority given to you. We are more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. So walk with that. Like, you've been saved. You're set free. You're not bound to the systems of this world. You're not bound to the systems of a college institution who just wants your money and who just wants to make you the perfect little soldier to go out into the workforce and spread their message, whatever it is. I don't know why, like, the colleges are being so targeted right now, trying to tell you what to think, what to believe. Well, they are. And you are not bound to that. In fact, you are set free from that. And you are free to trample on that system, to trample on the work of the enemy in the name of Jesus, and like lead people to Christ. That's it. That's it. Like when I look back on college, that's the best thing I could have ever been a part of. Better than graduating with my BFA, better than, I don't know, coming out of it with like an agent, better than all A's, better than, I found myself getting jealous of like the valedictorians and the award winners today. But then I really sat back and I thought about it and I was like, well, none of them got to be a part of what God did at Marymount. I got to, by his grace and by his mercy. Like, he invited me and I accepted the invitation, and that's all it takes. That's the good news. That's the gospel. He opens the door, he invites, he makes a place for you at the table. And all he says is, come and eat. And it's really that simple. Like, and we get to take that good news into the classroom, and people are searching. They want to know the truth. Like, they're so desperate for the truth. That's why our college campuses have gotten to the point that they are, because everyone our age is desperate for something to cling to make them feel like they're a part of something. And you, my friend, know that we have access to be a part of the kingdom of God, to share in the riches, the true inheritance of eternity with him. Okay, y'all, so I had a lot of technical difficulties with this episode. Currently throwing an outro in right now without a mic. But thank y'all so much for bearing with me on this episode. Thank you for sticking with Counteract and just being faithful to listen. If it's your first time listening, thank you for giving us a shot. Yeah, and I just want y'all to know that we are praying for you who are going into college, who are about to start a new chapter of their lives. We're behind you, and yeah, the Lord is just inviting you to something so, so great during this season. Don't be afraid to step into it. You're so protected by the Lord, and you have people behind you. Okay, that's all for this episode. Thank you guys so much. I am so excited to get into a Q&A about college and faith and just my whole experience next week and possibly the week after. I don't know. I'm actually going to be traveling, so these episodes are pre-recorded. I don't know like what order they're going to release in, but yeah, stay tuned for that. You guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us a rating. Every good review that you give to our podcast makes it easier for us to give you better content, get better sponsorship, and ultimately just serve you guys better through this podcast. So give us a good review, follow us on Instagram. If you need someone to talk to, reach out to me. I believe my Instagram is linked down below in the description, but also you can reach out to Counteract. Anyone at Counteract would be so happy to talk to you and pray for you and help you find community in your area. Okay, guys, we love you so much. God bless you. See you next week.